Welcome to Rediscovering the Beatles with Mark Morse. I'm Mark. When I first decided to start reacquiring the records that I gave away in the 1990s, I was focusing on the Beatles, still am. One thing I wasn't aware of, though, was how common this album, introducing the Beatles, how common it was that that album was counterfeited, and how likely it is that if you buy this album, there's a good chance it's going to be a counterfeit. I'm sure people who've been buying Beatle records for a while know that this is probably the most counterfeited album ever produced. So when I bought this album on eBay, I was a little reluctant. The seller said something like, "This is an authentic album, not a counterfeit." But people say stuff like that on eBay. So I went ahead and bought it at a reasonable price. And what I thought I'd do today, there's two records I have here that I'm going to look at. And what I want to do today is I want you to help me decide if this is truly a genuine article or if this is a counterfeit. I personally believe it's a genuine article, and what I'm going to do is use some criteria I've found online to go over it. What I've done is I found some sites where people have sent me, like, this is a good place to get information. One of them is a site, Rare Beatles. It's pretty exhaustive on how to tell if these are counterfeit albums or not. The other, I just kind of stumbled upon, just being lucky. I was first looking through the vinyl community, and I came across a guy named David who runs a channel called Collecting Beatles 101. And I was watching one of his videos, and I realized, dear God, I have a counterfeit album. Obviously, I have a counterfeit album, and we'll talk about that one later. But first, let's go over this. As I've said, I'm going to use the website Rare Beatles as my source for discovering if this is real or fake. But also, the gentleman I mentioned earlier, David Elliott, he's also covered this and the other album I'm going to go over on his channel. I'll provide links to both the Rare Beatles page and then also Collecting Beatles 101 channel, so you can follow up with those. The album, introducing the Beatles on VJ Records. VJ was the first record company to release a Beatles album in America. Capitol had turned down their offer to do it, and VJ snatched it up. So they got this out before even Meet the Beatles. There was a lot of issues with VJ. I don't want to go into all that. But they spent a lot of time getting this out, repackaging it, just getting it out to the public before any lawsuits could get them. But that's a different story. What I want to do now is just go over to see what we can find about this. And you help me decide if this is a genuine article or not. So, on the Rare Beatles page, it talks about some of the more common characteristics found on counterfeit covers. So these are things that you would find on a counterfeit cover. So the first thing it mentions is covers with a brown border around the front cover photo are fake. So I've seen those. If you go to Collecting Beatles 101, he has a good example, one with a brown border. It's very obvious the border is there. It looks fake. Covers with a bright yellow tint and the word stereo printed in black at the upper left are fake. So this doesn't have the word stereo on it anywhere. It doesn't have it on the label, doesn't have it anywhere. Covers without George Harrison's shadow visible to his right of where he stands near the edge are fakes. So there's George's shadow. So far, in my estimation, we're doing good. Covers with red, blue, and yellow dots, unmistakable under the top of the back cover, are fakes. The dots are used by the printers during the printing process. On originals, the dots are in a different area and are not normally visible. So those dots aren't visible, and I bet you've seen these dots on other albums, so I bet you know what I'm talking about, or what they're talking about here. Covers for the stereo issue that lists Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You are fake, are usually fake. Only a couple authentic copies of these versions are known to exist. These songs aren't on here at all, so I have no fear about that. If either the front or back cover is flat, meaning lacking gloss, it is counterfeit. So I would say this was at least a semi-gloss on both sides. I don't know if you can see that, but it's definitely not lacking gloss. Now let's move to the disc. And to me, the discs are a little easier to determine for this one purpose, and I think it starts right off with that. Any labels with flat, textured, rainbow color band labels are fake. So my version isn't a color rainbow version, and I think you probably know what I mean. They usually have, when they're the rainbow, they have the it looks like a spectrum going around the disc. This labels that have the Beatles and Introducing the Beatles separated by the center hole are fakes. So these are both above the center hole, and that's what I always learned to look for when I first started buying these albums. The title and the Beatles are both together above the center hole. If the width of the vinyl trail off, the gap between the end of the last track and the edge of the label is greater than 1 inch, you have a fake. So I got a measuring tape, and let's see, I don't know how I'm going to do. I don't know if you can see that, but it's obviously not a full inch. So there, I think we're good there. Any copy with black labels that do not have the rainbow color band that are printed on glossy paper stock are fakes. So when I read that one, I got a little nervous because I thought when I read it that it meant, oh, if it doesn't have that rainbow thing on there, it's a fake. But I read it again very slowly. Any copy with black labels like this one, that do not have the rainbow color band, like this one doesn't have the band, that are printed on glossy paper stock are fake. And I can't tell if you can see that or not, but that is a very non-glossy surface, so I feel good about that. Copies with rainbow color band labels that have faint print and are weak color brightness and a lack of clarity are fakes. Again, I don't have that rainbow thing, but if I can find one online, I'll post a picture of what they're talking about. That rainbow thing comes around and then the colors kind of peter out towards the end, almost turn gray or black. Just it's pretty obvious when you see it. So I'm feeling pretty good about this album. And the cover. The one thing that makes me a little nervous is I've seen sites where they say if the cover is all washed out in the back, it's probably a fake. And to me, this doesn't look vibrant, and I've seen other covers that look more vibrant. But when I've looked online and I've seen the fakes, the color is really washed out. This actually has some gradient in there, though not a lot. That's the one thing that makes me a little nervous. This page has a lot more stuff. I just don't want to go through everything, but to me, everything looks good on there. So let me know what you think, if I got an authentic copy or not. The other one I want to talk about, and this is the one that kind of surprised me when I was looking at the Collecting Beatles 101 channel, that I got this version. It's Songs, Pictures, and Stories of the Fabulous Beatles. Thinking I'd found something kind of interesting and odd. Well, I was going through David's channel and I found his video on this album. And in just a few minutes of that video, I realized this was a fake. I'm not going to go into great detail here, but after I found out I had a fake, I had to go and get an authentic one. The actual name of the album is Songs, Pictures, and Stories of the Fabulous Beatles. And it has this cool 3/4 gatefold. And then on the back, the pictures of the Beatles are clear. They don't have any blotches on them, except for album wear. Now on this album, and I should mention, take a look at this disc. I should mention, this looks like a different album. It is exactly the same album as the authentic Introducing the Beatles. VJ just repackaged it, sent it out. They were trying to just get as much money as possible out of this before the whole organization went down in flames. But even when you get in there, instead of it being Songs, Pictures, and Stories of the Fabulous Beatles, it's Introducing the Beatles. And you can tell the Beatles and the name of the album, Introducing the Beatles, are above the spindle hole. However, on the fake version, instead of it reading Songs, Pictures, and Stories of the Fabulous Beatles, it just reads Songs and Pictures of the Fabulous Beatles. So it's missing the "and stories." And then there's no gatefold at all. There's absolutely no gatefold. And then on the back, the pictures of the Beatles are very blotchy, look like they've been photocopied. Look at the authentic and the fake. So I just thought that was make sure everybody was aware of this. Anybody out there who's watching this channel is likely interested in the Beatles and maybe the vinyl version. There are counterfeits out there, and to be careful. I do want to thank you for being here today. I hope this was informative. I'm usually more of a discussion about the Beatles kind of guy, but I've seen some videos recently where people were questioning if they had the real ones or fakes, and I just wanted to do a quick video and maybe get your help in finding out if you think my Introducing the Beatles is genuine or not. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all again very soon.